Let us use this opportunity to exchange ideas,
Now let's turn our attention to Pakistan. The country just finished hosting the SCO summit. SCO stands for Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It's a Russia and China-led bloc with 10 member countries from Asia. Pakistan is one of them, and it was chosen to host this year's summit. By the looks of it, they pulled it off. No explosions, no terror attacks, no murder sprees of any kind. So Islamabad does deserve some credit for managing the bare basics. It was no mean feat. Pakistan deployed 12,000 security personnel to maintain law and order. They also shut down all shops and businesses. It was inconvenient for the locals, but the Pakistani establishment accomplished its main goal, pulling off an incident-free SCO summit. It must have been a relief for the attendees, which included some high-profile figures. You had the guest of honor, China's Premier Li Qiang. Pakistan was especially keen on showing him a good time. We'll get to the reason in a moment. Also in attendance was Russia's Prime Minister, Mikhail Mishustin. And from Central Asia, you had the Prime Ministers of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. And the Prime Ministers of Belarus and Mongolia were also present. As I said, quite the high-profile guest list. India's Prime Minister was also invited, but Prime Minister Modi chose not to attend. Instead, he sent External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, who arrived in Rawalpindi yesterday. It was the first visit by an Indian minister since 2015. He attended the SCO banquet last night, where he met Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. This morning, Jaishankar began his day with a morning walk at the High Commission campus in Islamabad. India has a diplomatic mission in Pakistan's capital, and Jaishankar interacted with his colleagues there. He even planted a tree on the campus as part of the Indian government's tree plantation campaign. After that, he went to the main SCO venue. He took part in the photo op, stood for the family photo, got the pleasantries out of the way, and then got down to business, the main SCO summit. Now, before I get into the details, here are some things that you should know. The SCO began as a regional grouping to promote trade and security. Its main goal is, and I'm quoting, strengthening mutual trust and friendship and good neighborliness. I'm not joking. It's in the SCO charter. The bloc initially comprised Russia, China and some Central Asian nations. It gradually expanded to include India and Pakistan in 2017. Then Iran came in 2023 and Belarus joined this year. Right now, the SCO claims to represent 40% of the world's population and about 30% of the world's GDP. China is one of the founding members. It wants to bolster the grouping further, turn it into an anti-Western bloc. Most of the other members are just keen on development. They want to use the SCO to set up infrastructure and trade, like Pakistan.
Like the Belt and Road initiative of President Xi Jinping, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is in its second phase, and the International North-South Transport Corridor should be expanded, focusing on developing road, rail, and digital infrastructure.
Now, Pakistan calling for expanding infrastructure sounds like a good idea until you think about the money. Who exactly will pay for all of that? Well, you remember how I called the Chinese premier the guest of honor. This is the reason. Li Qiang was given the royal treatment. He met the who's who of Pakistan's establishment. He even ended up inaugurating an airport. And then during the summit, Shehbaz Sharif said, and I'm quoting, Pakistan supports the establishment of an SCO alternative development funding mechanism, which could provide the impetus needed for the revival of stalled development projects. Basically, Pakistan just asked for a new loan, or rather a new bank to regularly take loans from. Let's see how China responds to that. And Shehbaz Sharif did not stop there. He had another zinger lined up.
The international community must step forward with urgent humanitarian support while calling upon the Afghan interim government to embrace political inclusivity, thereby ensuring Afghan soil is not misused for terrorism against its neighbors.
Yes, you heard that right. Shehbaz Sharif has a problem with terrorism, with terror being used against neighbours. Perhaps he should head on to nearby Rawalpindi and convey this to Pakistan's military establishment. It's a classic case of the pot calling the kettle black. Islamabad is fine with terrorism when it is used against India, but terror from Afghanistan is an urgent matter for the SCO. Talk about hypocrisy. Now remember, Jaishankar was at this meeting. He had to sit through this whole charade. But then he delivered his address and it summarized India's point of view. Jaishankar said, and I'm quoting, "If trust is lacking or cooperation inadequate, if friendship has fallen short and good neighbourliness is missing somewhere, there are surely reasons to introspect and causes to address. If activities across borders are characterized by terrorism, extremism and separatism, they are hardly likely to encourage trade, energy flows, connectivity and people-to-people exchanges in parallel." The message was quite simple. The speeches at the SCO mean very little, honestly, if the member states don't adhere to the group's charter, if they don't behave like good neighbours. India's neighbours are China and Pakistan. One tries to capture territory, the other tries and keeps sending terrorists. Until these transgressions stop, India won't be very enthusiastic about the SCO.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election. Explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.